Well, the airwaves of Robin Hood Radio are sounding a lot like something's going on at the Lakeville Journal. And yes, something is going on at the Lakeville Journal. They are taking and putting together a month-long celebration of the Lakeville Journal turning 125 and moving forward. And there's so many different parts to this puzzle of celebrating the life of the Lakeville Journal and the future of it, and so many that are driven by local businesses itself. And one of those local businesses helping driving the celebration is the Moviehouse on Main Street in Millerton. And they have a series put together, Movie Makes the News. We'll bring in, first of all, our contact at the Moviehouse, Helen Seslowsky. Helen, it's nice to have you join us today.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having us, Marshall.
So, and also joining us is Jeremy. Is it Boviard, Jeremy?
That's correct, yes.
And you are the theater manager?
Yes, that is also correct. Very happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
All right. So Helen, let's talk about the setting up this, how the Moviehouse put this together and got the idea to put together this great series of movies about journalism.
Well, the idea actually came from the great folks at the Lakeville Journal on the anniversary committee, Dan Dwyer, Inga Heckel, and Alexander Wilburn, who approached Moviehouse owners David Maltby and Chelsea Altman with the idea of, let's try and do something. Here we have a great local newspaper, we have a great local cinema, both provide these wonderful hubs for the community. What can we do? And out of those initial discussions, we decided to do this film series, and everybody had input into it, and we're really thrilled to be doing it. It makes so much sense, and it was really fun to put together.
It's funny talking with Dan Dwyer. He was mentioning about how Meryl Streep said, "Well, what about the movie I was in?" And then Dan said to her, "Well, they're not going to release the rights first to use that."
That's right. Jeremy can speak to that. Actually,
Yeah.
we did have quite an expanded list. We knew we were only going to do 4 films, and we had quite an expanded list, and there were some glitches along the way. Jeremy, perhaps you want to speak to that.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that in a second, but I want to also publicize the dates of the movies and with each movie, are you doing the drinks at 5:30 and the program at 6:30?
Yes, we are.
All right. And individual tickets, by the way, are $16. A package for the whole series, which I think is a terrific bargain, is $60 because there's some unbelievable films in this. And the films will all be shown upstairs in Theater 3. And if you want to purchase that package, you can go to the Moviehouse and click on the links. Now, Jeremy, let's go to you and talk a little bit about putting the films together and how Meryl Streep's movie, The Paper, did not make it in.
Yes, absolutely. So first of all, apologies to Meryl Streep. It's certainly no slight because we actually had a big discussion about wanting to use Spielberg's film from 2017, The Post. But like you mentioned, due to, distributor licensing and whatnot, that was not possible. But to speak about the films that we are going to be screening, I'll say it's one of those funny things where all that begins well, ends well, because we had a big list, like Helen mentioned, but honestly, for the most part, the films that were the most important to the committee in terms of, the highlight primary choices are really, for the most part, the films that we ended up with. And for good reason. I would say the first film that's kicking off our series on Wednesday, August 17th, is All the President's Men, which is a hugely important film, not in American cinema, and then in the way that it portrays investigative journalism and highlights the importance of a free press, dealing with an issue that is, in many ways, like one of the kind of most important issues in the United States news and politics in the 20th century. Pretty notable, and just a fantastic film. What we really tried to focus with on these films is something a balance. Each film kind of brings its own worthiness to the table. They're all classics in their own way. And it was also really important to us as well that we highlight films that focus on print journalism. So there were certain films, whether it be broadcast news or, any number of others that are great films about maybe broadcast journalism, but we really wanted to focus on print journalism. So moving on to His Girl Friday, which is Wednesday, August 24th. That's in many ways a lighter film, a comedy, one of Quentin Tarantino's favorite films, interestingly enough. But just because it's light, it still has a really strong message revolving around women in journalism, something that, especially in 1940, was incredibly less common than it is today. And then right along in a couple weeks after, we're jumping over Labor Day weekend. But so Saturday, September 10th, we have The Killing Fields, which is a very serious film, much different in tone than something like His Girl Friday, but different than the investigative journalism in All the President's Men. The Killing Fields highlights, the importance of war correspondence and how tough and ravaged that can be. And then also the relationships that, whether by choice or by, necessity, that journalists make in their journey as, writing about the news and whatnot. And then the last film we have, Wednesday, September 14th, is Citizen Kane, which, aside from being recognized as one of the greatest films of all time, has everything to do with not just print journalism, but in its relationship with politics as well. Heavily inspired by the life of William Randolph Hearst, who was one of the original titans of print journalism. There's a whole interesting story I could get into about how the film was received and rolled out, and how Hearst tried his best to stop the film, but that's for another time. But yeah, Citizen Kane is a classic and absolute, candidate for greatest film ever made for a reason. And again, each of these films, while related to print journalism, all bring something different to the screen that we're all really excited to share with everyone.
We're talking about the 125th celebration of the Lakeville Journal and the participation at the Moviehouse in that. Movies make the news. Now, going back to your first movie on the 17th, All the President's Men, you'll have at their editor-in-chief of the Lakeville Journal, Janet Mankel, will be there as well, right?
That's right. Yes, we wanted to invite speakers for each of the films, just to give us all some extra insight and make the event special. We felt it was appropriate to kick off the series with the editor-in-chief and publisher of the Lakeville Journal, Janet Mankel. And she served on the New York Press Association for many years as well. And so we're very, very happy to have her for that. Do you want me to go on and talk a little bit about our other speakers?
Absolutely. Because,
great.
Yeah, we'll go to the next movie, His Girl Friday.
Yeah, well, for His Girl Friday, we have Sandy Padway, who lives locally and is a great friend of the Moviehouse. He is associate professor from Columbia University Graduate School of Journalism, was actually dean of the School of Journalism for a number of years. He actually picked His Girl Friday as the film he wanted to introduce. He has a particular love for the film, and so we're excited to hear his insights into that film. On Saturday, September 10th, we are so privileged and so honored to have Sam Waterston join us. Sam is also one of the honorary co-chairs, along with Meryl Streep, of the Lakeville Journal 125-year celebration committee. He'll be talking to veteran CBS News reporter Richard Schlesinger about his experience filming and making The Killing Fields. So that's going to be a real treat before that film. And then we round out the series on September 14th with Citizen Kane. And we're going to be joined by Professor Joshua Glick, who is a visiting associate professor at Bard School of Film and Television Arts. And Josh was going to give us an introduction and overview to the film and then conduct a Q&A afterwards. And Citizen Kane is one of the films that is pivotal to Josh's courses. So he is incredibly knowledgeable about this film, and we're really excited to hear what he has to say about it.
So once again, for you folks that are listening, as part of the Movie House's participation in this, not only do you get 4 great movies all aligned around print media, but you also get people talking about it in addition. And a reminder that at all these movies, drinks at 5:30, the movie begins at 6:30. Individual tickets are $16, but you can purchase the whole package at once, all the movies for $60. All the movies are going to be shown in Theater 3. And I just think this is such a great idea because, you know, you look at the movies that you've chosen here, they're all gigantic movies. And the two that I'm sure most people are going to be most familiar with are All the President's Men and The Killing Fields. But for the people that are young and have not seen Citizen Kane, you will be blown away when you see it. And you're right, the lighter side with Cary Grant and Rosalind Russell, His Gal Friday. These are all terrific movies that people can go out and enjoy. And you're also celebrating the Lakeville Journal and Helen, by the way. You're also celebrating the Moviehouse, which has turned nonprofit also to these changing times to develop and stay here.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. We feel sort of a kinship with the Lakeville Journal. We both pivoted to a 501c3 model at about the same time. It just made sense, and so we rely on the support of the community, both of us, to keep doing what we do, both the newspaper and the cinema. So we're really hoping for a great turnout for this series. We want to see all our friends and neighbors and come together to support these 2 great institutions.
You know, years ago when Joe and I came up with the idea to start a radio station, people were shocked that we formed a nonprofit. But I saw years ago that the scene was changing, and if you're going to survive in a small area, you're going to have to be a nonprofit because you'll be supported much better by grants, by donations than you will by underwriting, and it changes the whole tradition of what you do as an organization. And the Moviehouse, once again, along with the Lakeville Journal, moving forward. And Jeremy, one question for you. How is it being general manager of the Moviehouse? I have to ask that question because that's not an easy job.
Fair enough. Yes, it's been a fantastic experience. I've been a lifelong film fan. You talk about Citizen Kane being a classic, really all these films being classics for their own reason. I remember about 20 years ago, the first time I saw Citizen Kane, and I'd heard so much about it. Oh, how could this really be the greatest film ever made? And then by the end of my first viewing, I was like, yep, I get it, totally understand. So I hope that anyone who comes out to these films, whether they've seen them before several times, dozens of times, or never before, everyone's in for a treat. I'll say managing the Moviehouse, like you said, has been a really nice experience because every single day we're greeting people who are there to enjoy themselves, there to have, engaging, thought-provoking experiences. And especially in these times, the last couple of years, that's more important than ever. We're seeing people every day. It's their first time back, whether with us or to a movie in general in over 2 years. And there really is something to be said for a shared experience on the big screen that you can't replicate anywhere else. So it's a pleasure every day to interact with everyone and to share that with everyone.
And once again, if people want more information on tickets, like either the whole package or single tickets, themoviehouse.net, themoviehouse.net. Helen and Jeremy, thanks for spending a few minutes with us, and looking forward to the 4 movies that are going to be shown over the course of the next month.
Thanks for having us, Marshall. We look forward to seeing you there.